All right, welcome everyone. So today I'm going to show you how to set up your 3D prints for 3D printing. So what we have to use is what we call a slicer program, and if we're printing with the Axiom Airwolf 3D printer, we're going to use the Apex software. That software you can Google Airwolf Apex if you didn't get the link, and it should come up, and just select your operating system if you have a PC or if you have a Mac. It should be pretty similar, maybe a little different on the PC than what I'm going to show you, but you should be able to figure it out. So when you first open it up, it'll say welcome and thank you for trying Apex. Go ahead and go next, and we're going to select the printer type that we have. The printer we've got is an Axiom series, and then we'll select the printer, and then it'll be Axiom. And then we'll again select the printer because oftentimes there are different versions. We've got the direct drive. So Axiom series, Axiom direct drive. And we can use this to print. So we go ahead and click on finish. Sometimes you get the this dialog box that says a new version of Apex is available. Would you like to download? Sometimes there is a new one, but for some reason this always comes up. So I'm going to click on no. And then it'll open. Okay, so what we have here is the Airwolf logo, STL file already loaded on here, and then we've got our basic settings already set up. Filament we're going to be using is ABS, yes. The quality, none of this stuff matters really at this point, because I'm going to switch to full settings. So go up to Expert and switch to full settings. And then to tweak all of these settings to make your print look wonderful, you're going to load the INI file that I've got set up on the Dropbox, or the OneDrive, I'm sorry, that will allow you to get all the right settings. So I'm just going to load that file that I have, go File, Open Profile, and then abs.ini is what we're looking for. So if I go ahead and click on open, it will automatically change my settings, which now that 5 hours and 28 minutes that this was going to take has been cut down substantially in time. That's just by tweaking the settings a bit. So what we've done is we've made the bottom and top layer thickness thicker. We've added some fill density, which is basically the honeycomb pattern inside. We made that a little bit less. We increased the print speed a bit. And we also turned our supports on. I'm going to go ahead and click on this and delete it and load my own 3D print. So I'm going to load this one. Let's see. So this is just an STL file which you've made by exporting from Rhino. Okay. So what we've got here is a student project from a while ago. And you can see how long it's going to take based on this bar right here. And you can orbit around by right-clicking, zoom with the wheel. That kind of thing. All right, so now let's have a look at what support structures are. So if I click on this eyeball over here, I can go to Layers, and the Layers tab will show me how the object's actually going to print. You can see the kind of purplish blue French ultramarine color is your object. This yellow stuff here is what we call support structures. Now, oftentimes we'll cut this kind of object up so that we can print it in a couple of pieces and get rid of a lot of that fill because it does mess with the quality of the print. But if you've got an object that has just a couple of things that are overhanging, and what I mean by overhanging is, of course, areas that need to be supported because of gravity. So these areas that kind of hook out, if we look at it normal again, hook out, there's nothing underneath there. So if I was to print it without any kind of support, it would not print because it would just fall down. So that's what I mean by overhanging. And you can print anything up to about a 60 degree, 45 degree angle, 60 degree kind of pushing it, but if it's a larger object, I can do 60 degrees, no problem. So you can set that angle right here. If you click on the 3 dots, sometimes the program's a little glitchy, so if I come back down here and click on this again, it should come up, yeah. And I'm in dark mode, so this is black, but if I double click, you can see the number 60 there, and that's set at a 60 degree overhang, which I'm fine with. So this is going to be a 14-hour print, set up the way it is. But if you look at this view mode and layers, you will be able to kind of go back through time and watch how it's going to print. You can also see the internal honeycomb pattern that we've set up here, and that is giving you your internal strength and also taking a lot of time. So you want to kind of keep that to where it's at a minimum, but enough to make the print work out right. And if you have something that has a flat top, you need to increase that fill density because there's more opportunity for failure as it's printing across that grid. So you want that grid tighter so as it's going back and forth, it'll actually fill in properly. Other things, if I go back into normal mode here, and say you want to change the size of this, you're like, oh wow, 14 hours. Well, I don't want to spend that much or take that much time. You can scale this down. I can come over here and change it to 0.5. And it has a funny thing also with the program that it's kind of glitchy. If you can't just delete that 1, it'll come back. So you've got to go 0.5, put the 5 next to the decimal point, come back over here, and then delete the 1. Right? Ridiculous. But that's just the quirk of the program. So that you can change the scale. You can rotate the object. If you notice it's not at a 90 degree angle, you can kind of pull it in different directions. You can even click on this to lay flat, which will make sure that the bottom is flat, which you also need to do. So I usually go through my layers and check the bottom layer just to make sure that it's filling in as it's going up, which this one you can see actually is not. So, and the way I can tell that is because you can see these shapes on the bottom layers. You want that all to be blue around those circles because you want it to be laying flat. So let's go back to normal. Click on this, and then click rotate, and then lay flat. I'm going to pause for a minute here just to make sure that it doesn't crash. Okay, so I made it lay flat. And now, when I go to my view mode, go to layers, and if I go all the way to the bottom, you can see those are solid circles, and that's what we want. And so as it builds, it'll adhere to the bed better, and then it won't create support structures underneath the legs that we want to be flat on the ground. So looking at it now, settings wise, everything looks good. Of course I would cut this up so I don't have so much infill on this specific model, but I could print it like this. So now I'll go to save toolpath, and then you're going to title it you want it to be a short title so I can see it, your last initial, and a brief title. Like I'll call this S I thing. I don't know what the heck this is. And if you have multiple parts, you'll title it 1 or 2 or whatever. So just title it something. You don't want it to be multiple words because I can't see that on the screen on the 3D printer. So just something short, and then you save it, and we put it on a thumb drive, and it's ready to go. And that, I think, will do it for this tutorial. Thank you very much.